What does it take for a high school to be ranked among the nation's best? How do you find a college that's right for you? And why are community colleges so often ignored by the media? Today on Campus Conversations, we'll talk to best-selling author and one of the nation's foremost journalists on the education beat, Jay Mathews of the Washington Post. Stay tuned, Campus Conversations is next. Welcome to Campus Conversations. I'm Fritzi Bodenheimer.
And I'm Steve Simon. Known for his weekly Washington Post column Extra Credit, a number of best-selling books, and for the Challenge Index system he created to help rank the nation's high schools, with us today is Jay Mathews of the Washington Post and all of those published tools that I just talked about there. Jay, welcome to Campus Conversations.
Thank you, Steve. Thanks, Fritzi.
We're so happy to have you with us today. People in the Washington area have been reading your work for a long time. And I want to ask
long time. 36
years
years at the Washington Post.
That was a good starting point for me. Not that long a time. But I wanted to go back to one of the things that really helped to kind of, from the education beat, helped to really kind of put you on the map, if you will, and something you discovered in some of your reporting. First of all, tell us a little bit about your career, how you got into education reporting, and how you discovered a man named Jaime Escalante.
I came to the Post in 1971 when I was 26 years old. I'd been a Vietnam veteran, and I'd gotten a master's degree in China studies. I saw myself as a future China correspondent, and what they do at the Post with anybody who wants to go to China is send them to Arlington County, where I spent covering crime and school board meetings. And I thought that was kind of interesting. I spent 5 years as a local reporter, then I got to go to Hong Kong, then Beijing, and then wrote a book about China, and then came back to be the Post reporter in Los Angeles. And, reporters go from one little story to the next. We don't get very deep into anything, and I'd been able to get deep into China, and I wanted something else I could do deep, actually get inside the subject, do something, maybe write another book. And it was December 7th, 1982. I was the LA correspondent for the Post. I remember because it started with a news article I was able to look up later. There was a piece in the Los Angeles Times that said, down their metro section, that said that 14 kids at this very low-income school in East Los Angeles had taken and passed the AP calculus exam, the hardest exam in American high schools, and then been accused of cheating on it, and they passed it again. Now there's a movie that many of your viewers have probably seen, Stand and Deliver, which was inspired by that story, but movie came out 6 years later. Nobody had ever heard of this school or this teacher, Jaime Escalante, and I started to hang around the school, and I was just knocked sideways, because here was a school that was absolutely contradicting what most Americans, in general, most American educators believe. Kids from low-income backgrounds cannot learn at that level. We believe that you have to give them remediation. You can't expect much out of them. You certainly can't expect them to go to college. That school was bursting with AP courses and successful AP students.
What kind of activity were you seeing in the school when you came to find out what was going on there?
There were four things happening that were just crucial, and educators watching this won't be surprised about this. But they were doing four things with those kids that very few people do, even in some of our best schools with average kids or below average kids. They were giving them high expectations. They really believed they could do AP. You can do it. They believed they had the brain power, and history proved they did. Secondly, they were giving them extra time. They'd invite kids to stay after school. They'd have Saturday sessions. Jaime Escalante started a summer school for kids to prepare them in math. And then the third thing, they had an uncorruptible, absolutely authoritative standard, a target, passing the AP exam, which wasn't written by their teachers, wasn't graded by their teachers, but by outside experts. The International Baccalaureate exam, the same thing. So it was the same exam that the rich kids in Beverly Hills were taking. That had authority, that had credibility for them, so it was something real, a real goal. Jaime would compare it to winning a gold medal in the Olympics. He always was full of sports metaphors. Then the fourth thing was to take that goal, that incorruptible, authentic standard, and create a team spirit around it. So Jaime had calculus team shirts, calculus team hats. He had a calculus team song. He played Queen's We Are the Champions, and kids would be beating on their desks, bomp, 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 every morning to that tune to get them up in speed, because the idea was we as a team could beat that exam. It was the teacher and the kids together to beat the exam. Most high schools, it's the kids against the teacher, kids trying to get the teacher to give them extra credit, teacher maybe giving them an easier exam so that she won't look so bad on the final measure. This was an exam they couldn't game, they couldn't fix, so that was the spirit of that school. And I, that at the end of that 5 years working the book, I had the factoid that changed my life, which was in 1987, 129 kids took AP Calculus at Garfield High School. Most of them passed. It was the passing level was above the national average. And I discovered, checking schools around the country, that in that year, there were only 4 high schools, public or private, in the entire country that had more kids taking AP Calculus than this school, where 85% of the kids were low income, 95% of the parents were 6th grade dropouts. That proved to me that what was going on there had national importance, and I've been spending my life since then trying to tell that story.